she says, going back to the concept of curse energy, there is a kind that can be destroyed and that which cannot. The latter, however, can be redirected, changed, and even utilized for one's best interest. First, we shall consider energy in the context of science and nature and its likeness to fire, as an energetic creature which can be created and destroyed. Consider now energy in the context of nature. The energy of fire is the same whether it exists as a raging and destructive inferno or as the flame upon a candle, providing the perfect romantic ambiance for a dinner for two, and flickers upon the logs within a fireplace, warming the home. The energy of fire itself is not good or bad. It has no grudges, no love, no hate, and nothing to prove. It is neutral. It simply exists to survive and goes where it is directed, in search of fuel. Whether the fuel is a romantic log fire or a burning building is irrelevant to the fire. Let me say that again. Let me find my spot and then say that again. Whether the fuel is a romantic log fire or a burning building is irrelevant to the fire. Only the individual or the circumstance which gives life to the fire, intentionally or otherwise, influences the circumstances of its creation, its existence, and its growth or demise. And that's a really interesting thing I wanted to start this conversation with is the fact that this is simply energy. This is a force. And this force is largely impersonal until it assumes a personality, such as, we've mentioned Belial, we've mentioned Azazel. Those are actual personalities that this force can get filtered through, or through our own selves. Now, I'm going to go to my contribution, my chapter called Force-Filled Barriers. In this chapter, I will provide instructions on how to create, deploy, program, fortify, and dissolve magical force-filled barriers. These methods largely utilize your magical imagination and physiological connection with the energy within and around your own body. Once mastered, you will be able to immediately create a defensive shield that will protect you from any incoming attacks. And thank you, Zarafina, for writing such an amazing piece. And that's just one little part of it. But I wanted to put this out because an attack isn't necessarily an attack. An attack isn't necessarily that something spiritual is trying to hurt you. It's just that it is existing. It's doing what it's doing. It's trying to consume and connect with what it's trying to consume or connect with. Now, I'm going to skip a little bit forward. Red and blue energy walls. When my daughter was an infant, I was told to begin a series of demonic evocations, and I was concerned that the demonic influence might be harmful to her. I had never worried about the possible periphery effects that my rituals might bring. I had rented spare bedrooms from families and never gave a second thought to whether my astral effluvia would affect their children. But before my very first demonic evocation as a new father, I could not bring myself to begin until I had some certainty that she would be safe. Led by some strange knowing within me, beyond intuition, like an ancient memory of lessons long forgotten surfacing, I faced the hallway leading to the bedrooms. And I held my right hand in the air before me, as if it were pressed against a spotless glass pane. I exhaled and felt all of the energy within me compress, direct, and flow out of my hand, an energy wall spreading out from my hand and sealing off the hallway. The energy wall was clearly visible in my inner vision, blue electricity jumping around the empty space, small arcs of indigo volts jumping onto my arms and blocking even my thoughts from penetrating. My hand no longer felt like it was suspended in the air, nor did it feel like my hand was resting against a wall. Instead, I could feel a semi-solid wall of living energy pushing back at me. And I could tell that somehow the energy wall itself was conscious and was watching me. My energy was drained almost instantly from my first psychic push to erect the energy wall, but I knew that as soon as I withdrew my hand or my focus, it would vanish, and I wouldn't have within me enough energy to start over. I would have to abandon the demonic ritual until I found a solution. Again, another ancient lesson leapt into my conscious mind. I exhaled the remainder of the breath inside me, channeling the last drops of energy from my body into the wall, and then slowly inhaled, pulling blue hypercosmic light into my being from every direction, and especially visualized it arriving to me from infinitely above and infinitely below. With my exhalation, I pushed that energy through my hand and into the wall. Once I had engaged this link with hypercosmic blue light, I did not need to visualize the energy, nor did I need to push and pull it with my breath. Once I had engaged the link with hypercosmic blue light, my body became a spigot of energy. So, a couple points there. It's looping again for you, R1. I'm so sorry. It didn't give me a message saying it's disconnected, so hopefully you can just refresh and it should be good. Hopefully. Hopefully. Oh, has it stopped for everybody again? Let me know if anybody's catching me, because it looks like Arwen and Blade and Cloak are having some issues connecting. So I haven't gotten the notification of disconnect yet. Now it's working. Okay, cool. Whew. Whew. But I got some stuff I want to get through today, all right? So, okay, so to recap a couple of those things. So to create an energy wall, hold your hand up and actually feel like you're pressing your hand against a wall. And now, I learned my lesson because I tried to summon this blue protective energy from within me. I tried to pull it up from my own body and push it into this energy wall from myself, and I drained myself completely. And then the lesson, the ancient lesson kicked in, and I realized, don't use my own energy. That blue protective energy, it's a universal energy. And so I pulled it, inhaling, I channeled it through the top of my body and the bottom of my body, just feeling it coming at me infinitely above and infinitely below, channeling through me. And then, like I say, my body basically became a spigot of energy. A spigot, for those of you that might not know, it's like the faucet that you have outside, outdoors, that you lift it up, you lift up the handle, and the energy just flows. So as you go to create an energy wall, don't try to pull that energy from yourself. Open yourself to allowing the energy to come as universal energy through you. Oh, now let me see if I can find my spot again, because I shut the book. Here we go. Within a few moments, the energy wall was stable. I took one final deep breath and quickly released the breath as I released my hand from the energy wall. I stood back and marveled at it, my inner vision seeing a transparent electric blue barrier in front of me, my physical vision beholding a glimmer in the empty space leading to the hallway. In my heart, I had no doubt that anything summoned in the main area would not be able to pass beyond the energy wall. I performed the demonic evocation with great success. Not only was my daughter not disturbed by the energy of the rite, but she also wasn't bothered by the noise, as I had lost myself several times in the ritual, being shushed by my ex-wife's eyes as soon as I was cogent again. By the time I had finished cleaning up the ritual and restoring my living room, the energy wall had vanished behind the familiar veil of forgetfulness that obscures the juiciest parts of any working from the conscious mind. As soon as I stepped over the threshold of the invisible energy wall, all of my instincts warned me to flee. I had only made it a step beyond the wall before I jumped back into the living room as if I had been bitten by something. Remembering the energy wall, I erupted into laughter and explained to my ex-wife what I had experienced. She insisted on passing through the energy wall as well, and in addition to having a similar instinctive response to jump back, she also noted that the hallway beyond the wall was freezing cold. I carefully stepped on the other side of the wall, was confronted by the same instinctive panic, and verified that yes, the hallway and presumably the rest of the house beyond the energy wall was freezing cold. While preparing the living room for the ritual, I had switched off the heater, as it might disturb the incense smoke during the ritual. So I don't know if any of you guys do this, but if you're burning a lot of incense and you have your heater, if you have central air of any sort on, it's going to take that incense smoke and circulate it through the entire house. And I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want, first off, I didn't want the gusts of wind, of air coming from my, coming from my heater, from my vents, to disrupt the flow of incense. But I also didn't want to smoke my daughter out while she's sleeping with this incense and bother her. So the month was late November, and even the desert was nudging into winter. Of course, the house would be cold without heat for a couple hours in the middle of the night in the winter. But the living room into which I had evoked the demonic entities into full manifestation was not only not cold, but it was hot as hell. I pressed my left hand to the energy wall and inhaled, dispersing the energy with several breaths into the air around me, and returning it infinitely above me and infinitely below. I have deployed energy walls more times than I can count since then. I have played with different shapes, and I have always found a simple wall to work best. I have also played with different energy colors and have found that blue creates a calm protection, while red offers a much more aggressive, fiery protection. So, let me catch up on comments, see if you guys have any questions about that, and we'll go forward. All right, see now. All right, awesome. I love Tai Chi, Eric. It's all good. All right, you're good now. Awesome. Thanks, guys. So Elastic says, so like I can do that and form it into a mirror. That's how they do it in Reiki too. It's so funny you say that, because that was one of the things that that Tell had said in one of his recent videos on his YouTube channel. If you want to do a scan of somebody, go look in the mirror and then scan yourself in the mirror. It gives you the ability to put a little distance between yourself and to see yourself as an external entity, for sure. And Vixen Fire says you can use your own energy to flavor the force field. I use different kinds depending on what feels right. Awesome. My Dark War Room says, I work that same logic of energy seemingly effortless to my own eyes. But it comes as simple as channeling breathing. It is. It really is. So with things like this, with moving energy, it's not that we need to force it. If we're trying to force it to happen, we're doing it wrong. We need to allow it. Just simply open yourself to it and allow it, for sure. So Elastic says, I'm using the blue energy now, and it feels nice. Now, another interesting thing I noticed about this in that first experiment is that I forgot about the wall, and I walked through it, and I had instant panic that told me to jump back. What this tells me is that these walls can, and I've also seen this in a lot of my other experiments, that these energy walls, they're not just affecting spirits or spiritual energy, they're affecting people too. That a person who's not in tune with energy at all would go to pass through this wall and get the same kind of anxiety and desire to jump back away from it. This is a good way to keep people away. If you need to keep people away, I would choose to do a red wall for that. Fabrizio says, looking at oneself in the mirror perhaps may also be used as a spell or manifestation for health or wealth, etc. Yes, absolutely. Elastic says, it never dawned on me to use different color energies to help calm me down when I have bipolar personality disorder splits. The simple things we overlook can be the most potent and powerful sometimes. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've never had experience with bipolar personality splits, but I do have a lot of experience with anxiety, intense anxiety, and spiritual and magical arts can definitely help that. They can help everything. No matter what the problem is, there is a magical solution. Dark War Room says, what comes as experiments to us on this plane is actually learning what our soul already knows. Oh, yeah. Arwen says, I'm so tired. I've been working almost all day. I think I'll have to go and rest. Thanks a lot for the stream, King. Take care, Arwen. Appreciate you being here, and we will talk again next week. Okay, let me jump back into this a little bit. So I'm going to go over just the step-by-step of setting up these energetic walls. So below are the steps that you can follow to erect an energy wall. 1. Stand facing the empty space where you wish to erect your energy wall. 2. Place your right hand as if it were pressed vertically against the wall. Visualize a blue for calm protection or a red for aggressive protection energy wall spreading out from your hand. All right, Thunderman's got me. All right, awesome. Refresh. Did we hit another refresh point? Okay, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to go ahead and just I'm going to roll through these step-by-step instructions, and then I'm going to cut the stream. I'm going to cut the stream. I'm going to send a message to Julian saying, "Hey, bro, this is getting unusable, and I'm not sure he's able to do anything about that. We'll see. But yeah, so we'll just roll for another like 5 or 10 minutes. All right. Inhale and visualize. Let me go back to step 3. Visualize a blue or red energy wall spreading out from your hand. Again, blue for calm protection, red for aggressive protection. Number 4, inhale and pull energy into you from infinitely above and infinitely below you, exhaling and channeling it into an energy wall. When the energy wall feels stable, now how are you going to know it's stable? You're going to feel it pushing back against you. You will feel it where at first, I'm going to be honest with you, at first it is just your imagination. Everything that we do initially is just our imagination. The house that I now sit in, just a few years ago, well, more than that, 4 or 5 years ago at this point, it was just an imagination. I just thought it, and I thought, this is the kind of temple I want to have. Here's what that room needs to look like. Here's the upstairs and the bedroom, and it was just in my imagination. So everything that we create begins just in your imagination. So does this energy wall, any energy barrier, anything that you're doing. I'm going to even say, as you're doing an evocation of a demon, that demon begins only as your imagination. But then as you sit with that for just a moment and you empower that imagination with your energy and with universal energy or the energy of that spirit, it does come to life. And you can feel that coming to life in that it's no longer just something you're imagining. You can feel it pushing back at you, back towards you. When the energy wall feels stable, observe it for a few moments before removing your hand. So feel that. Feel it. You want to actually feel that energy pushing back at you. You want to feel that magnetism before you remove your hand. Number 6, take one final deep breath and quickly release the breath as you release your hand. 7, stand back and observe your energy wall, ensuring its stability. So once you take your hand off, stand back and with your magical imagination and more than what you're seeing or seeing even in your mind's eye, feel it. You want to feel it. You want to feel as if it's actually there. Now, number 8, to deconstruct, reverse the process by placing your left hand on the energy wall and inhaling the energy of it into yourself. So simply left hand, inhale, and just absorb that whole wall. Usually you can do this with one inhalation. If not, a couple will do. This will be much more energy than you can reasonably hold within your system. So you are advised to do this in at least 3 phases, inhaling and diminishing the energy wall by 1/3, exhaling and releasing the energy into the ground and air, and repeating until the energy wall is no longer seen or felt. 9, an alternative option for the deconstruction of the energy wall is to program it with your intention to dissolve it when you clap your hands 3 times in front of it or any other similar signal. So this is something I actually picked up from Chaos Magic, that at the end of their workings, okay, let me give you one last thing before we definitely close up here. Let me give you another thing that I learned in Chaos Magic, which is, imagine, and you do this in a group of people, imagine that a small cloud of mist is enveloping the group of you, and this is to conceal your workings from the masses. So a small cloud is around you. You want to see this cloud as being dark gray, like a storm cloud. And as you all exhale, so you want to inhale together, and as you exhale, push the cloud further, not further away. You're actually feeding the cloud your breath to make it expand, growing thicker and bigger. Thicker and a greater diameter. Because you do kind of see this cloud in a bit of a circle. And then once it's reached the desired size and thickness, then you're going to just go about your ritual. Do the things that you're going to do. Now, when you're done with it, when the ritual's over and you no longer need that protective, secure cloud, that you clap your hands 3 times and then erupt into laughter. And the laughter and the clapping of your hands will dismiss that cloud. So those are some interesting ways that you can use that.